Hey guys, we're back in the shop again. I got the wood stove going, warming it up in here. I wanted to show you guys a new Klein tool that I picked up at Lowe's. I was pretty excited the first time that I saw this because I could tell it was a brand new design. They're definitely taking some feedback from the users of their curve handled strippers, and they put a lot of those improvements into this new model. This is the K12075, the heavy duty slim forged Klein curved wire stripper and cutter. You may have noticed one word that stood out there is forged. I was pretty interested in that when I first saw it. I've tried out a lot of the Klein curve handled wire strippers in the past in store and watched videos on them, and I was never a fan of them. It seemed like it was always missing one essential feature. It would either be that it was not spring loaded, which is not a big deal, but then it had the pinch cutters like your lineman or your side cutters, or if it was spring loaded, it had no lock, which keeps the handles open like this. So when you go to try to put it in a pouch, put it in your pocket, that would be really annoying to me. They also had really broad heads on them and very short straight cutters, basically only the width of a piece of Romex, and that was kind of a downside to me too, kind of a bummer. So with this new pair of the Klein Curve and its sister pair, which strips Romex sheathing and strips 12 and 14 gauge wire, let's look at the features on this. Obviously it cuts, it has forged cutters. It does say cut copper only. It says on here that you can twist wire. We're going to test that out. Really, this size of head is probably as small as I would go for twisting wires. I really don't know if that's wide enough, but in my mind, this is actually more of a feature than a downside. You have a nice crimper down here. It's not like the universal crimper like you find on the 8-inch hybrid pliers. I'm not really a fan of that design. It's nice that they put it on there, but this is more of a dedicated stripper size. And then obviously it has the step cut shears. So a lot of people are going to be comparing this to some German brands. I do have one German brand here. I do not have the Knipex forged wire strippers. I never could really justify spending the money on them. Yes, I know people brag that it cuts MC cable. I don't deal with that much. I deal with residential wire when I'm maintaining something or working on something. So these really appealed a lot more to me. So let's get right into the features. So it strips solid from 8 to 18 and stranded from 10 to 20. I wish I had some larger stranded to test that out. It has the step cutters. It has the 2 screw cutters for 632 and 832 screws. And it's on the front side of the stripper instead of the back side like these hybrid pliers. It has the crimper. They're spring-loaded handles. And up here at the teeth, this is a pretty cool feature to me. It has these nice, aggressive crosshatch teeth. They actually feel a little bit sharper even than your traditional linesman pliers, but they are a little bit finer, so take that into account. Why is that an advantage? Well, if you're grabbing something, just grabbed a small zip tie here, and pulling like this, you have that nice curve handle to grab onto, gives you a little bit more leverage. And I think having the crosshatch teeth on almost a needle nose size pliers is an essential thing. I love it for all of my needle nose pliers to have those crosshatch teeth, even if they only go one direction. So this gives you a lot more gripping power. I think that's really handy for this. Will it twist wire? Maybe we'll try to test that on camera. But we're going to compare it to some other budget brands as well as the Klein hybrid strippers themselves. And also, I'm going to test it up against the 8-inch or the 8-in-1, Weha combination pliers. These have the sharpest shears on them that I've ever used on a pair of pliers. And I can say that testing it on some just paper and stuff like that, these seem to be just as sharp, but how do they cut wire? Now let's go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to snip off some 12-2 Romex. Yeah, nice and easy. Compare that to the Milwaukee. Required a good bit more effort. The handles are about the same length, so it's not really a problem of leverage. It's a problem of the shear design. Let's try the Weha. Easiest by far. It's almost unfair how easy that is. Then we'll try the hybrid pliers. Pretty smooth. It does require more force. Let's try it right up against the forged wire strippers. Yeah, these are a lot easier to use. They were able to accomplish this while slimming down the entire tool so it's lighter weight. I really appreciate that. It's a nice slim size for sticking down in your tool pouch, or even just slipping in your pocket or keeping in a bag. So I really appreciate that. One downside, even though the Milwaukee has some slimmer handles, they are nice and they are wider, which does help with comfort because you have to press much harder or squeeze much harder to be able to cut things with these shears. I've mainly used these for stripping, but let's see if we can get it focused in on here with the camera. Yeah, there you go. These shears are already scarred up. These are made in China. They're a budget plier, $20. It's not a bad plier if you want a needle nose combination with your strippers, but you can tell it's really made to a budget price. In contrast, these are made in Taiwan, which to me is not a bad thing. Some of my favorite tools that I use, including some of my favorite knives from big companies, are made in Taiwan. From what I can see, these seem to have pretty good quality control, maybe even better quality control than their USA factories. I know some people probably get upset at that, but you know, I've gotten a lot of pliers like this, or looked at a lot of pliers in the store that hadn't been cleaned off. They still had metal shavings all over them. These came in, they're nicely finished, which impresses me right off the bat. And by far the best design of strippers I think that Klein has come out with so far. So if you're into residential wire, this is going to be a big plus for you. So let's see, how does it strip some 12-2 Romex? Unfortunately, I don't have anything bigger right now. I'm just going to pull the sheathing off here carefully. Super nice. Obviously, they make a version that strips the Romex sheathing right off. I don't prefer those type of pliers. It seems like people don't have very good experience with them. I always go for the regular strippers because they can do more for you, and it's so easy just to strip Romex, strip the sheathing off of Romex rather. So let's go up here, make sure I have it on solid. Super easy, minimal effort. You just squeeze and pull. Let's compare that to the Milwaukee's. These are going to probably be its biggest competition. They come in $10 less. These are $31 in store at Lowe's, which I think is a great price. It comes in, you know, $8 cheaper than these hybrid pliers. Of course, these are going to be for a different use, and they're about the same price as the original curve handled strippers. Yeah, the Milwaukee does strip nice. It doesn't snap through the jacketing on the wire. It's a little bit more buttery feeling, if that makes sense. But these kind of snap through it easily, and then you just pry it off. Let's compare it to the Kleins. Now that we're getting down shorter with our wires. I do like that the hybrid pliers are a little bit simpler. Yeah, they strip just as easy. They feel like the forged strippers there with the ease of stripping. Let's hope that I have enough wire here. I'm just going to get a little pre-twist and see what we can do with these. We're just going to do 2 wires as an example and see if it can even do that. Of course, it's not really a good real world example. But not bad. I mean, if you have, I would say the max that you could probably twist together is probably 3 wires. So keep that in mind. This is not going to be your main tool. You're not going to get the same leverage. Here I have 3 wires. You're not going to get the same leverage that you do with these hybrid pliers. These feel like a pair of linemen's, and you can really get the twist on with these. Pretty good leverage. So let's discuss which ones are the right choice for you. Do you only work with residential wire? Are you looking for a tool to replace your linemen's? Maybe even not have to carry a pair of diagonals if you're only doing residential work, because these have good size cutters. This might be the right tool for you. These can be used as a hammer. They have a lot of weight up here at the head. They're pretty robust and tough. They have good symmetrical handles, so if that's something that's important to you, maybe you go with a pair of these, or you can go with the needle nose that are similar in the Journeyman series. So this goes from 14 to 10 solid, keep that in mind. But it's going to give you all your essential features. Are you an electrician? Are you a handyman that works in different sizes? Do you sometimes work in industrial applications or commercial applications? Maybe these would be right for you. This is another, one tool option that I think could really replace a pair of needle nose for you in your tool pouch or your bag. If you really want a nice smooth set of cutters that are low effort, this is going to be a good design for you. If you like spring-loaded pliers, interestingly, you can adjust this pivot. Mine actually came out of the box perfect. They spring all the way open to their widest point. I saw that Doc at Last Best Tool showed his. They didn't quite open all the way, so he loosened it up. When he pulled it apart, it was a pretty interesting design. Go check out his video. But it's just an internal spring that's captured into basically, I don't know what you would call it, like not a valley, but cutouts in the steel of the handle. So it's a very simple mechanism. I really appreciate that. Sometimes spring-loaded things can be overly complicated. I don't really like when they have the external spring, especially if it kind of sticks down farther and interferes with your work. So good on Klein for that. Go check these out in person. Decide for yourself if you want them. I'm not telling you have to go out and buy them, but I really like searching for the best wire stripper because it's a tool that I enjoy using. And when I use it, I want it to work right the first time. And, since I'm not a pro at this, it gives me some satisfaction in my jobs. To me, that's important, but keep that in mind when you're checking these out. Their Klein is coming out with some really cool stuff at Lowe's, so it's worth checking out. So I hope you guys find this review helpful and the comparison between these other 3 pliers. If you have any questions, put it down in the comments. I'll try my best to answer them, and we'll catch you on the next video.